There's a particular kind of silence that only exists late at night. Not the loud silence of an empty room, but the soft, quiet static, where streetlights hum like they're thinking about something. Cars pass occasionally, not going anywhere important, just proving time is still moving. And somewhere between midnight and morning, you find yourself standing at a crossroads you don't remember agreeing to. That's where I am. I've reached a crossroads in my life. Not the dramatic movie kind with signposts and swelling music, but the subtle one. The kind where the road ahead is suddenly labeled adulthood in clean legible letters, while the path behind me has started to fog over. I can still see it, but not clearly. It's like trying to remember a dream that mattered, only to watch it dissolve the harder you chase it. This is the stage where questions multiply faster than answers, where certainty feels like a language I used to speak fluently but somehow forgot. It's strange how you don't feel older until the world decides to remind you. The other day I walked past a group of kids, loud with that reckless joy only borrowed time can afford. They paused, shuffled aside, and one of them said, "Let the uncle pass." Uncle. It hit my stomach before it hit my pride. My heart didn't just sink, it dropped straight through me. That word carried so much weight, responsibility, distance. It's not just an age marker, but a role. A signal that you've crossed an invisible line where you're no longer becoming. You're expected to know. This is it, I thought. I remember being that kid, standing on the side of the road watching adults walk by, wondering why they always look so tired, so serious, so far away from whatever magic we were still holding on to. I remember promising myself I'd never become that. Yet, here I am. Unk status officially on the horizon, standing on the other side of the street wondering, how did that happen so quickly? Nobody sends you an invitation, it just happens. I can almost sense the what you know about this era of my life steadily approaching. I think my music taste gave me away long before the kids did. I don't chase new sounds the way I used to. Discovery feels exhausting now. These days I'd rather return to what I already know. The songs from high school, from that one summer, from the year everything felt possible. Music stops being background noise and starts becoming a timestamp. If you're Gen Z, I feel like we've all silently agreed that 2016 was the one. I don't know why. It just was. I call it substance music now. Songs that don't just sound good. They mean something because they sat beside you during seasons you'll never experience again. J. Cole albums feel complete at this stage of my life. Like a toolkit. I don't need to upgrade. Enough to get you through the day or the night. I listen differently now. Not for hype, but for meaning. For survival notes hidden between verses. My friends and I used to chase the future through sounds. Now we archive our lives in the collaborative playlists filled with the classics. By the way, to all the uncles who tried to put me onto Anita Baker and got laughed off, my bad. I owe you an apology. Turns out I wasn't rejecting it because it was outdated. I just hadn't lived enough yet to understand it. Funny how that works. Some things don't age. Sometimes people do. And eventually, you grow into them. Lately, I've also caught myself paying attention to things I never used to care about. The news, the economy, interest rates, wars happening on the other side of the world. The kind of conversations that would have made 12-year-old me quietly leave the room. And every now and then, I hear myself say something like, "Those years were better," and immediately feel a slight tinge of embarrassment. Because I also remember swearing I'd never turn into that guy. The adult who's convinced the best years are behind him. The one who complains about the younger generation like he wasn't exactly the same a few years ago. And yet, here I am, saying it with my whole chest. People always say, time flies when you're having fun. But were we? Sometimes I honestly can't tell. I'm at a stage in my life where days blur together. I don't always know what I did yesterday or what I'm supposed to do tomorrow. Not because I'm lazy or careless, but because the old markers are gone. There's no syllabus anymore. Years came with a next step already waiting. Now there's just Tuesday and then Wednesday, and you're expected to build an entire life inside those ordinary days. There's no report card anymore, no next grade. Just you, your thoughts, and a calendar that keeps asking uncomfortable questions. Sometimes I feel like I'm running out of ideas. Not completely, but like I've been burning through creative fuel for years. And now I'm learning how to drive on whatever's left. It's a strange feeling, because creativity has always felt like home to me. Now it feels more like a campfire. Some nights it burns brightly. Other nights, I'm crouched beside it, trying to protect the last few sparks from the wind. Maybe that's why I keep writing, and maybe that's why you're listening to this. Because writing feels like one of the few cards I still have left to play. Maybe even the one I value the most. Sometimes I wonder if life has a counter for these things, like, what if I'm using up all my best words too early? What if one day I reach into myself and there's nothing left? I know that's irrational, but my late night thoughts usually are. Another thing that's been strange lately is watching everyone else quietly move on, not maliciously or intentionally. It's almost like all my friends held a meeting and forgot to invite me. I know that's dramatic, but that's honestly what it feels like. One minute we're arguing over sneakers, trying not to wear the same outfit to the same party, pulling together whatever money we had just to disappear for a weekend. And then, without anyone announcing it, people started getting engaged, getting married, having babies, buying houses, changing surnames, becoming parents, before I'd even processed that they were thinking about it. Now, instead of asking, what are we doing tonight? We're asking, what day are you free next month? Group chats go quiet, not because people stopped caring, because somebody's child needed a nap, somebody's wife had a long day, somebody had work early, life happened quietly, again. How did we get here? When did spontaneity become a luxury item? And then there are the questions I don't always know how to answer. Questions about success, about money, about what I'm actually chasing. Sometimes I don't know if I genuinely want millions in the bank, or if I just want proof that I didn't waste my best years. I don't know if I want the G-Wagon, or if I just want evidence that I made the right choices. Sometimes I wonder if I'm chasing fulfillment, or simply trying to convince strangers on the internet that my life worked out. Because validation has evolved too. It used to be about being seen. Now it's about being confirmed. Confirm that you're desirable, successful, that your life is moving at the correct speed, that you're doing adulthood properly. Then there's this recurring fantasy I keep having. Sometimes I imagine buying a camper van, just disappearing, driving until roads stop having names, waking up wherever morning finds me, watching the sunrise somewhere nobody knows who I am. Part of me calls that freedom. Another part wonders if it's avoidance. Am I chasing adventure or just running away from decisions? I honestly don't know. Maybe it's both. Maybe freedom and avoidance wear the same clothes sometimes. And maybe that's what makes them so difficult to tell apart. My mind always seems to end up in the same place. Marriage, family, children. Not because I'm obsessed with the idea, more because I can't stop wondering if I'll be ready when life asks me to. I don't know if I'm taking my time because I'm waiting for the right person, or because I'm scared. Scared of getting it wrong. Scared of promising someone a future when I'm still negotiating with my own. And if I'm being honest, there's another fear underneath that one. The one I don't talk about very often. How do you become a husband when you're still learning what it means to be a man? Better yet, how do you become a father when you never really got to be a son? That question follows me more than I like to admit. It shows up in places I never invited it. Quiet walks, prayers that begin with confidence, and somehow end in silence. Because I know what I don't want. I don't want my children inheriting wounds that never belonged to them. Spending years trying to untangle knots I should have untied before they arrived. I don't want them carrying questions that started long before they were born. Truth is, that scares me. More than money or failure, more than growing older. The elders always tell me the same thing. Take the risk. You'll never be completely ready. God will provide. And every time I hear those words, a part of me believes them. Because if I look back over my own life, God has always been my anchor. There were seasons I genuinely thought I wasn't going to make it. Doors open that had no business being open. Meals appeared when cupboards were almost empty. People showed up right when I thought I was completely alone. And strength arrived. On days I couldn't even recognize myself anymore. So, yes, I believe God provides. I really do. But there's another voice, a quieter, heavier one, that says, my children should never have to pray the same prayers I prayed. They shouldn't have to drink water to quiet hunger. Shouldn't have to sleep on their stomachs just to muffle the sound of it. Shouldn't have to learn resilience before they learn safety. Sometimes I think we've romanticized survival. We celebrate resilience without asking why resilience had to become necessary in the first place. Faith is powerful. It has and still carries me. But survival shouldn't always have to depend on a miracle. As the Islamic Hadith says, tie your camel and then trust in God. How do I look someone's daughter in the eye and say, maybe next month will be better, and mean it without being sure myself? How do you ask someone to trust you with their future when you're still negotiating with your own? So no, I don't think I'm ready, not yet. And strangely, I don't feel ashamed admitting that anymore. Maybe that honesty is its own form of maturity. I can live with uncertainty if it's only mine. I can carry that weight quietly. But I couldn't survive knowing someone else's livelihood depends on my gamble. This stage of life is weird. Sink or swim. But no one tells you the water is freezing until you're already in it. They say there are treasures beneath the surface. And there are. I believe that. Love, purpose, legacy, meaning deeper than anything I'm currently chasing. But oxygen matters too. You can't enjoy treasure if you're gasping for air. Maybe this crossroads isn't about choosing a direction yet. Maybe it's asking yourself to take a break, to look back without shame, and to look forward without panic. To accept that uncertainty doesn't mean failure. It just means you're still alive enough to question. Maybe becoming Ankh isn't an ending. Maybe it's a vantage point. A place where you finally understand both sides of the road. The kids laughing without consequence and the adults walking with invisible weight. A place where you stop pretending you have answers and start respecting the questions. Maybe that's why I keep writing these journals. Not because I have wisdom to hand out. Honestly, most days I'm just trying to understand my own thoughts before they disappear again. If you've made it this far, thank you, really. It still surprises me that complete strangers choose to spend part of their day wandering through someone else's thoughts, trying to find answers to their own questions, but maybe none of us are really looking for perfect advice. Maybe we're just looking for proof that somebody else has stood at this same intersection, looked in every direction, and admitted, I don't know either. Maybe one day I'll listen back to this years from now, much older and grayer, hopefully a little wiser, and maybe I'll smile at how seriously I took everything. Or maybe I'll realize I wasn't taking it seriously enough. I don't know. But I guess that's the point. So, tonight, under these humming streetlights, without knowing what tomorrow holds or which card I'll play next, I don't know if the life I'm building will look impressive or wildly different from what I once imagined. But I know this. I'm still here, thinking, choosing intention over autopilot, still mapping my way through the dark. Because every season of my life has introduced me to a version of myself I couldn't have imagined beforehand. Maybe the next one will too. In due time, all will be revealed. Maybe not in the next video, but eventually. So wherever you are right now, driving, lying awake, or just sitting with your thoughts, I'm glad our paths crossed for a little while. Take care of your mind. Guard your heart. And don't rush the questions that take a lifetime to answer. Until next time, peace be with you.